And from gaming news to more nerdy news, it's the Nerd News Network, everyone. We've got trailers and reveals and castings, and my God, Horry, what a week to decide to take a week off.
Yeah, I know, right? Everything just got announced.
Just it's craziness. Let's start where all good stories do, at the beginning. Giancarlo Esposito has been cast in the MCU.
Finally.
But not as a role he's been fan casted in, according to Collider. So the most common fan casts were for him to play Xavier. But he's not been cast as Xavier, but he has been cast as someone.
Or has he, and they're just lying to us?
No, he said he's not Xavier.
Yeah, or is he lying to us?
I don't think he is. I think he would have just said nothing.
I've got the inside scoop. He's the new Kang.
I don't hate that though. Is that crazy?
I knew you'd say that.
I don't hate that. Is that crazy?
No, I think there's clearly a shift in maybe direction of where the story's going. We're getting that sense that they're adjusting, and I think we get the vibe there's more of a focus on, obviously, Fantastic Four's finally coming, potentially a lean towards X-Men. So there's a lot of possibilities of characters we've not even considered previously, because we were going off what we were expecting the story direction. Right?
We're also just we'll get into some more of the other. A lot of very high quality castings are being made, which makes this casting news even more exciting. We got the Boys season 4 trailer.
We did. Looks very cool.
I'm
chaotic,
so
as expected.
I'm so glad that we get to go through season 4 together.
I'm glad I get to watch. Do you know what? Actually, I'm going to miss not being able to just binge it all in one go. Because I will say,
we are anti-binging on this.
You say that, but it was great for catching up, because I could just watch it all in one go. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to watching the new season as it's coming out.
You can take the binge away from the boy, but you can't take the binge out of the boy. Christ alive. But yeah, no, the trailer's very exciting. It's going to be very cool. Really curious to see how this goes. Clearly leaning into the right-wingness of Homelander and his fans.
Yeah.
And this kind of, we're going to do what we want and no one can stop us. Getting a bit more fascist within the Seven, with these new members who are just like, we're going to do whatever the fuck we want.
Did I also see that season 5 is confirmed?
Yes, season 5 has been confirmed.
So, very exciting. I can't wait for this.
An update on the Gen V season 2 after Chance tragically passed away. They've said they're still hard at work on season 2, and they have confirmed that Chance's character Andre is not going to be recast, and instead they're going to tweak the story to honor him and work around it. To recast or not to recast is a really, really difficult decision to make always. In the modern era, it seems to be, because of the short scales everyone works on, no one wants to consider recasting. And then a lot of the time people look back and go, we should have recast, but no one wants to be the person to step into them shoes so soon after a death.
Yeah.
Which is completely understandable.
It's tough, because obviously he was so young. So someone to replace that, it's like such a tough, like you say, job to step into. It's, I suppose, of all the, like, the fact it was after it's just before they've started season 2. They're not necessarily fully committed on the story. There is early enough in the Gen V story that they can reevaluate his characters and like make it so it feel like you say honors him and essentially writes him out.
Yeah.
It
It's difficult though
yeah
when you consider how season 1 ended with them all in a cell under control of Vought. The only way you can write him out of the show is realistically to kill him off,
yeah it's
which is a tricky thing to do in
yeah
this situation.
or well we also don't know the other characters coming back. There could be also quite a heavy focus on a new set of characters at Gen V in the new year coming through. Like maybe we're going to be balancing between the two, so maybe it's a bit easier for them to kind of hide that stuff away.
Maybe. My best guess will be that they won't kill the character off, and instead what they'll do is they will claim that his dad used his remaining pull
to get him out.
To get him out, and he's just kind of under prison at home, and he can kind of be a bit free, but he's essentially under house arrest.
Possibly.
And that's why he's not there. That's probably the classiest way to handle it.
Yeah.
Very difficult situation, and of course, all because of such a tragic and sad thing. Skeleton Crew. The Star Wars show coming to Disney Plus later this year.
I feel like we know little about.
We know nothing about it, and I'm so excited for it at the same time. And I'm even more excited reading this. He's going to be making use of stop motion and traditional old school matte paintings in production, as they got some old ILM crew members to come out of retirement to work on the project reports Collider. That's awesome.
That's very cool. The fact that old ILM like staff were willing to come out of retirement for this sort of a project says to me that one, they went to them and like, look, we want to use these methods that you used to use on Star Wars projects. And they're like, well, we don't know how to do it. And all the people that did have left, but I guess we can kind of see what we'll contact them. And those guys have gone, oh, you want to do it like the old school way? Yeah, I'm down for one more project.
I imagine they paid them a metric butt fuck ton of money. And they also, as part of that, got them to teach some people that are at the company. Gone, we're going to pay you a load of money to essentially come in as a lead / consultant. Our guys are going to learn from you. And then you can go off with a nice big fat check, off back into retirement. And we will not lose the techniques that you guys mastered, so that your work can live on in that way. And we'll make sure we're doing it correctly. And I think that's a very easy way to sell it, as long as the people still
and the fact
care.
It's Star Wars. Yeah. They all, that ILM did some amazing things for Star Wars. And it's like, I'm sure like they get the chat. There's like,
did some amazing things for cinema.
Well, yeah. But like these old ones that probably worked on the old films being told like, oh, you get to just put your hands on another Star Wars project. They all love Star Wars. They're going to be like, oh shit, okay, we'll. And it's like the old style. Yeah, we'll come back.
The passion's going to be packed in for sure. Next up, Superman suit reveal. Okay, I only have one complaint.
Okay.
Would you like to guess what it is, or do you not have a clue?
I feel like I saw your tweet and it was something about colors.
Collar. Were you being northern then?
No. Oh, wait, no. It wasn't. You liked the colors, the texture, or it was something about you comparing. Yeah.
The colors looked great. The texture was a bit strange, but I don't inherently hate it. The collar, I have a huge issue with. I don't like it at all. It doesn't look very Superman-y. But we got trunks, so it's inherently a W.
I mean, I think the picture we got, one, it's obviously hard to tell because if it's a poster, it could be color corrected in any way. Also, I don't think the textures were showing properly because it's clearly he's was all dirtied up, and
Yeah.
it's not him in fresh suit. So I think it might look better that way. I mean, I hadn't really paid attention to the collar, I'll be honest. But yeah, I mean, the suit looked
Not a
cool.
fan.
And like you say,
Overall, it looks awesome.
Trunks being back, I'm down for. It's what we were wanting from DC, to go a bit more like comic-y with the.
Yeah. Ironically, I'm one of the chiller people when it comes to costumes. I'm quite open to like new designs for every character other than Superman. And I'm not even a huge Superman fan, but in my head, I'm like, no, Superman you can't really fuck with. You need pretty tall boots. It needs to have trunks. Otherwise, it is an L. The quality of the trunks and the boots gives them enough leeway on the collar for now. And the texture, I want to see more shots to make my decision about the collar and the texture. But the boots and trunks being there is just like the biggest thing for me. It looks so good. I'm really confident.
It's one of those as well, like the picture was him sat down. I think it might look a bit better full on stud Superman pose.
Absolutely.
We'll have to wait and see.
Next up, Bob Iger.
Our favourite person.
Has announced that going forward, Marvel will release 4 or 5 projects a year, with 2 of them likely being shows and the other 2 or 3 being movies. We briefly discussed this in Twitter DMs. I think this is a W.
Yeah, and I actually think this probably comes more from Kevin.
Yeah. I think this is Bob trying to pretend he knows what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, he's like, I think this is Kevin's gone, we're scaling back, and Bob's gone, oh good, that's what I said we should do. I'm going to take this I'm going to put it out there, so this seems like it was all my idea, and look, we're doing, and everyone's going to be more happy with me. Meanwhile, Kevin's like, we're doing this, I'm going back to work, I'm busy. We've said it, we're okay with this. We felt that they tried to capitalize off the hype of where everyone was at after Endgame. They tried to push for more because they felt people wanted more, but then it diluted things. We've seen the effects of that. We've seen them slowly with scaling back, and like Loki's improved. I mean, the X-Men series we've talked about loads has been great. They're clearly the scaling it back is starting to show.
Exactly. And here's the thing, it's not like they're not going to think about the projects as far in advance. It just means they're going to have more time to make the projects good, which will hopefully resolve any of them issues we've had with them. So 100%. I view this as a complete W.
Same.
Ralph Ineson, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, has been cast as Galactus in Fantastic Four. I adore this casting. Have you heard his speaking voice?
I don't know if I have.
Go and find. Let me send you a clip of him talking, because he just gives you. His voice just gives that power. I'm sending it to you now, or I will be. It's in Discord. There you go. Just such a powerful voice. It's crazy. If Hori's feeling nice, he will put the clip he's about to watch in here, so you guys can hear what we're listening to as well.
Try
and
to
get an idea. It's just from an interview.
I have heard his voice.
In his voice. Yeah, he's been in lots of stuff, never in like crazy huge roles.
And he's doing
but you can imagine, just with that normal talking voice, how much power he's going to be able to project as Galactus. I think it's a phenomenal casting. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
Alongside the Fantastic Four cast being confirmed and the Galactus cast being confirmed, we have 3 other castings for the Fantastic Four with no roles confirmed.
Yes.
John Malkovich, Natasha Lyons, and Paul Walter Hauser. My God, this cast is insane. John Malkovich, I don't know if this is like an age thing. I feel like a lot of people our ages might not know John Malkovich that well. But my dad, being who he is and being older and watching films that he watched that I've watched with him, I adore John Malkovich. He's a phenomenal actor. He seemed like someone for a long time I thought we would never be able to see in an MCU movie because I view him as like above comic book movies. In like not in like
I know what you mean.
I think they're not worth it way, but I feel like you almost wouldn't want to ask him because he's seen as being too far above them. Natasha Lyons from Orange is the New Black and Russian Doll on Netflix is what I know her best from. I think she's phenomenal. I can't wait to see who she's been cast as. That's really cool. I don't know much about Paul Walter Hauser, but I know a lot of people are very excited about that. So let me see what he's been in quickly. He's been in Blackbird, Cruella, Cobra Kai. He's done a lot of work, so he's been a hard worker. I mean, alongside the other castings they've made, I trust the casting director for this film.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the ones we know confirmed and who they are, we're on board with, so.
Well, I sent you a tweet. Let me just find it quickly. Yeah, if this were the cast of an A24 movie, it would already be on Oscar Watch.
Yeah.
And that was before Natasha Lyons was cast as well. Like,
yeah.
This cast doesn't feel like an MCU cast. All of the branding for what we've seen so far feels so separate from the MCU. I fear we might be back.
It's almost like when you look back on like the Iron Man cast, that was actually kind of a stacked cast of some great people without like any expectation. And they're doing like a very good stacked cast again for what they know needs to be a good hit. Is a huge part of Marvel.
You know how my hype tends to run away from me.
Yeah.
So I try really hard to stay on top of it. Like, it's something I'm like, no, you need to keep it's unfair to put these expectations on these people who are just trying to do their job. They're making it really difficult, Hori. How are they going to get a fantastic forecast that I find so agreeable? Then give me someone who has the power in their voice to be Galactus in such a good way, and also makes me quite confident they're actually going to give us Galactus and not just a cloud. John Malkovich is like one of my favourite niche actors that I never thought I'd see in the genre I enjoy so much. John Malkovich isn't a niche actor. He is in my list of niche actors I would never expect to see in these kind of genres.
Yep.
So that had me so excited. I couldn't believe it. I genuinely checked and like Googled that to make sure I hadn't been hit by like a bait on Twitter. I was like, there's no way that's real. I need to double check that right now. I'm so excited for this cast. Everything we know kind of about what they're trying to do with it, like art-wise and vibe-wise, the fact it's going to be completely in IMAX. I know there's lots of jokes. We might be back. In fact, we might be better than ever if this is like the new direction they want to go with the Marvel films. If this is going to be like a turning corner in what they want to try and do, I'm so in.
God, imagine if the casts are going to be this stacked, wait till we start getting X-Men casts.
You are not ready, brother. Actually, my hot take is the majority of the X-Men should be unknown actors.
I'm okay with that.
I think that works really well.
Well, I feel like your Professor X and your Magneto maybe.
Very ice cold take. I'm not ready to move on from Patrick Stewart and
just bring him back. They could do it.
Yeah, like James McAvoy and whatever his face was did a very good job.
Yeah, but it wasn't the same.
Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen, I adore anyway.
Do you know
they? Sitting here right now, I would actually, if they hadn't already done X-Men films, they would be in that bracket with John Malkovich as the kind of actors I'd love to see in these films.
Yeah,
but I don't think I'll ever get the chance to see. I'm so excited.
This is so... Well, we're meant to be doing the news, but slightly off topic. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen yet in Deadpool with Wolverine. A little part of me, for the meme, hopes that Hugh Jackman Wolverine, even if it's just for a moment before he's done, is shown on screen with the new Professor X and Magneto.
It's like handing of the torch moment.
And then the three of them can go on Graham Norton, and we can have that meme that Wolverine's been with all of the different versions of, but there's still Hugh Jackman. Purely for that. Purely for my own enjoyment.
I'm very excited for the future of
Marvel films. It is looking good.
If they're going to start hitting these levels.
We just need another show since Loki to hit as well as Loki, and then we'll know shows are sort of in the right place as well.
Yeah. Rings of Power got a season 2 trailer.
This is so wild.
Sauron is here.
Because this weekend, when I was with my family, my brother-in-law, we were talking about Star Wars and stuff because he's into all that. And then he was like, "Oh, do you know when we're getting Rings of Power?" Because obviously he knows we do the podcast and we keep up to date. And I was like, probably next year at some point. Obviously, we haven't heard anything. And then I come home and we get a trailer. And I was,
crazy.
I'm so hyped. I personally, we both loved the first season. I know that a lot of people had issues with it strayed away from the books in places. I love it for what it is. It's more Lord of the Rings. It's more in that world. I understand people's grievances when it like strays too far away. I'm not well versed enough in the book, but I almost feel like some things I saw in the trailer feel like it's pulling it back to the book a little bit, or at least tying it back in some ways. I'm just looking forward to go back to more Lord of the Rings.
I enjoyed watching season 1 a lot. Like we said at the time, I don't know a lot about Lord of the Rings, so it gets to be something that I watch more casually. Instead of feeling a need to come in here like I do with the Marvel and the DC projects, where I feel like to come in here as like a fountain of knowledge. I get to just watch that as a fan, and if people who are massively into it don't like it, I'm like, I don't know why I don't like it. It seemed pretty good to me. That trailer had me hyped.
Yeah, the trailer was very good. And like, this isn't in the news, but also keeping on Lord of the Rings stuff, I saw that they have announced they are working with Andy Serkis as main producer or director on a Hunting Gollum or Finding Gollum film that Peter Jackson is also coming back to help produce.
Yes.
And there's also been talks of Peter Jackson coming back and doing more in his Lord of the Rings world or whatever. I just want more Lord of the Rings. Just give it to me.
Absolutely. It's crazy. Okay, so there's a little bit of backstory here.
Okay.
So last week we got another new title for the Agatha show.
The Agatha show of many titles.
Yeah. Agatha, the Lying Witch and the Wardrobe.
Yes.
Which is obviously a play on the Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. Yeah. People were like, "Oh, this show is going to be terrible."
It keeps changing names.
Because this is like the 19th different title.
Yep.
The show has been revealed now as coming out on September 18th, and the title is Agatha All Along.
So they've just been memeing us.
The joke was, and it's a really niche fucking reference. Let's remember, this show kind of got greenlit off the back of a song at the end of WandaVision.
Yeah.
Called Agatha All Along, which has now somehow turned into being their entire marketing shtick, where they've changed the title religiously every few months for the last 2 years. 3 years.
Do you know what? Also, like, it's so smart because if you think of it as like purely from marketing point of view, this has kept us talking about the show for so long because we're like, oh, title's changed again. It gets back in the news cycle.
I genuinely didn't think any company, especially as large as like a Marvel and Disney, had the patience for a running joke like this.
I think that the Marvel MCU, like the people in marketing that know what's coming, who are quite obviously in charge of leaks sometimes. Like, they have become very smart at how social media runs with stuff they find and how they love to find the leaks. They love when like titles change and stuff. And they just have learned, you know what, fuck it. We're going to feed into this direct from us. None of this actual leaks, none of this people finding out on a random, like, I don't know, trademark thing that titles have changed. Like, we're just going to like leak and feed this in there because we know the internet loves to run with it and talk about it. So let's have some fun with it. And the internet did what they wanted it to do, and here we are.
Because here's the thing, the beauty of it was them first few titles sounded very
solid,
realistic.
But
it's only like this last one that was a little bit like,
well, it's like
really?
The first one was like, okay, cool. Then it's changed. And it's like, that's still fine, I guess. Like, it's still same. Like, they clearly, and then it was sort of like, okay, they just can't really decide on the wording of what they want to go for.
Which is a really weird thing to get stuck on, by the way. Like,
yeah,
the title of
the show, which
is a big red flag if they were actually changing the title.
The thing is, I think also, because some films have had genuine title changes and things like that have happened, that just fed into our belief, like, that we believed this was all legit, like, not a planned thing. They're too smart. Kevin is Gladys. He is a robot in the roof of...
September 18th is when the show will start.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know much about it. We know that one of the actors from Parks and Recreation, another one, is joining the MCU. I forget her name. It's going to do my head in. Audrey Plaza, there we go, I remembered. Is going to be in the show as well. We don't know a lot. I'll be honest, I'm not that excited for the show. I don't think it's going to be that good. I feel like it was greenlit at a time when they didn't confidently know what they were doing.
Yeah.
And then by the time they were trying to work out what they did and didn't want to do, they were already so deep in production. It was kind of a sunk cost fallacy moment where they're like, we may as well take it the rest of the way at this point.
Do we know if this is under Marvel Spotlights?
We don't.
It wouldn't surprise me if it's carried on because they're going to put it under Marvel Spotlight.
Oh, it might be under the new Marvel television, actually.
Maybe.
Along with this getting its proper title and release date, Marvel Television was announced as a new banner. So we've now got Marvel movies, Marvel Animated, Marvel Television, and Marvel Spotlight. I imagine this will sit under Marvel Television.
Possibly
based on
then.
Its connections with
True.
WandaVision.
I mean, I'm okay if it like explores Sword a bit more, or if it like explains a bit more about like the Coven and all that side of things so we can understand Scarlet Witch a bit better. I'm okay.
With how uninterested I am in it, and I don't mean that in a negative way, I just have no interest in it. If it is even a good show, I'll be very happy.
Yeah.
If I don't find it a chore to remember to watch it every week, W.
Yeah.
Daredevil Born Again, March next year. We are 10 months away
from the return.
Daredevil. However, bit of sad news. Not going to be the 18 episodes we were told. It's 9 episodes.
Yeah, I saw that. 9 is better than 6.
It is them just going to the Netflix formula. I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm not saying what Netflix did was bad. What Netflix did was very good.
Yeah.
That is them having got the people from Netflix that they did get involved, or the ex-Netflix people, to try and make sure they captured that right vibe. That is the byproduct of that. I would rather 9 really good episodes than 18 meh episodes.
Yeah. I'm also, because we've had issues with the Marvel shows being like 6 episodes long and it's not enough, I'm okay with the idea that we're now at 9. This is going to be a bit longer. It gives them more time to do what they want to do. Hopefully, this is a solid show. Especially,
hopefully they make them hour-long episodes as well.
Yeah, hopefully they're good length. But yeah, I mean, maybe they have 18 episodes. It's just 2 seasons now.
Yeah. Ironheart,
Mm.
which has
Now a
been like a
film?
very yeah.
Last we heard, anyway.
It's a bit of a messy production. We don't know a lot of what's going on there. There was reports that it had been cancelled along with Armor Wars. There was reports that it and Armor Wars were now one and the same. It went from a TV show to a film. I believe the last time we had any confirmation was it was still a film. That doesn't mean it won't become a TV show again.
Yeah.
It will be coming next year. I'm nervous about it because it has had such a messy period.
I feel like all Marvel are still.
We're still we're getting rid of the last of them projects that were confirmed as coming during that time where it felt very directionless.
Yep.
We'll have to see if it's any good. I think it will be. I'm excited for more Riri Williams.
Yes.
Apparently Rhodey's in it. I think it
will. I mean, yeah, I would like to hope that whatever it is, whether it's film, show, whatever, I feel like after Secret Wars, we're getting Rhodey back. It's like they can kind of elaborate on that. They can bring in Riri and Ironheart. It's like hopefully they find a good way to bring these characters back in properly.
Yeah, absolutely. And on DC side, we have got a release date for Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, which is going to be June 26th, 2026.
Interesting.
Very
exciting.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's definitely nice. It's the other DC one I would say that out of what was announced, everyone's been talking about the most because obviously he gave the comic and stuff of what it was based on. So should be exciting.
Having gone now without any like real DC news and content for a little while, just getting these little bits of stuff is happening. Don't worry, we're working on it. It's exciting. It's nice to be excited for DC stuff again.
Yeah, for sure.
Now announce a Flash film.